Hi guys, it's Katie here again from Creativa, and I'm going to start making an album today using the Esencia SVG files. So the Esencia is a set of scalable vector graphic files that you can use in cutting machines like the Cricut, the Brothers Scan and Cut, the Silhouette Cameo, those types of electronic cutting machines. And the Esencia is a set of files that you can use to create a mini album from scratch, from beginning to end, including the cover, all the pockets and flips, belly bands, envelopes, accordion pocket envelopes, you name it. And the wonderful thing about the Esencia pack of files is that you can make a portrait or a landscape album, and you can make that in a 2-page, a 4-page or a 6-page. So today I'm going to start by making a 2-page landscape album. So I thought we'd start with something that wasn't too large, so that we can, you know, have a quick payoff, I guess you could say. So I'm using the Esencia SVG files. I'm also going to be using the quatrefoil window pockets, which are an add-on for the Esencia. And this contains all the same pockets as what you'd get in here, but they come with this window style, so that you can put some acetate behind it, or foil, paper, scrapbook paper, vellum, really anything that you like, and that just is an extra element to make your albums look pretty. So I'm going to use the quatrefoil for this album. We probably won't get to that today because we're just going to start by making the cover. So let's get started. So in my little booklet here I have screenshots of all of the SVG files. This time I've made it a little bit different. The mats are sitting on top of the elements themselves. So previously I've done them as separate files, but this time, because there are so many files, there's 27 files, I have included the mats on top of the elements. So an example would be here. So the elements themselves are in blue and the mats are in pink, and so there's 27 files here, including all the binding, the spines, the cover, lots and lots of pockets, and different types of base pages for portrait or landscape. So we have envelopes and belly bands, a waterfall, corner pockets, all sorts of things that you can use here to make an album. So I can show you what pieces I've cut out. Let me start though. I'm using this black cardstock by Recollections. It's 65 pound, 176 GSM, and I'm using this in this instance the 8.5 by 11 inches, which I think is letter, if I'm not mistaken, letter size. So I'm using that black cardstock paper to cut out my pieces, and I am using this paper pack by Craft called Grand Bazaar. So this was like, I call them a mini pack, I guess. It's just 12 sheets of double-sided paper, and you get a bonus sticker sheet as well. So I'm going to use this paper pack, and then I'm also using some acetate, and then I'm also using some foil, and here's a little scrap of the foil. It's like a copper colour. I thought it might look nice with this album. I actually think that navy blue would have been really nice, but I didn't have any and I can't go out at the moment, so I'm going to use what I have. So that's what I'm using. Let's put that to the side, and now I can show you all the pieces that I've cut out, and we can get on with it. Right, so we'll start off with our cover. So I have cut out 2 of the A1 cover pieces out of chipboard, so that's those 2 here. I'm using 2mm chipboard, but you use whatever you prefer, you know, or whatever you have available. So then I have cut out 4 of the mats that go with that. So under here, in tiny writing, it says pink mat A2. So for the A2 pieces, the mats, I've cut 4 of those. I've cut 2 in black, and they're going to be the mats for my inside cover. And then I have cut 2 of these in the scrapbook paper that I'm using, and they are going to be for my actual cover. Then I have cut one of these pieces here, a C1 spine piece, and I've cut that in chipboard, so that's my C1 spine piece there. And I have also cut the mat to go on that C4, and this mat is for my outside spine. I'm just going to cover that, and I've rounded the corners on these and inked around the edges. Okay, then we've got our binding. So we're doing a 2-page landscape album. So I've cut out one piece of this E1 here, which is this blue piece, and one of the E2s. So this is my E1, something all over it. I don't know what that is. So that's that one there. And I have cut one of the E2s. So I've cut this E2 piece here out of cardstock, but then on each side I've backed it with double-sided adhesive or double-sided contact, because this is the piece that is going to attach to the spine and hold our pages in. I wanted to make sure that it was really really well stuck in there, so I'm using that adhesive. So I've got that one there. And then I've just cut out some base pages, and I have cut out this landscape base page, which is M1, and I've cut out 4 of those, and that's these here. You can see my Cricut's already put the score lines on those, so they are all ready to roll. And that is all I've cut out for today. So I'll put this to the side and we'll start with making the cover. So I wanted to make my cover in black, but I don't have any black paper. I do, however, have this craft paper, but what I thought I'd do is cover it with this craft paper, and then I can just ink the edges where I wanted it to be black, because I didn't want to go out. Well, we're not really allowed to go out at the moment, but I didn't want to go out anyway. I wanted to use what I had. So I have just laid out my pieces on this piece of craft paper, and this is actually the kind of thing that you would use for covering school books or something. So I have I've just laid down my pieces like so, and then drawn a 1-inch border all the way around. And all I'm going to do is use my craft glue, which is an acetate based craft glue, I think. Acetone, I mean. You know what I mean. And I'm just going to attach these to my book covering paper. So it's just much like when you'd cover a school book. That's all we're doing here. So I have to confess that I've already done this once. I've already done this video once. And then I was looking at the SVG files and realised that something had happened to them when I uploaded them to Etsy, and they weren't the right size. So I had to well, here I am right now remaking my cover with hopefully the right size. So I'm just going to lay this down in here, and hopefully this time we'll do okay. And then this one here. So anyway, I did fix all the SVG files and loaded them back onto Etsy, so there's no problem there now. Okay, I'm just going to lay this one down and try and keep my gap pretty similar as I had on here. And line it up along that edge, pretty much. And I'm just going to make sure that it seems like it's wider at the bottom than at the top, but you know, if it's a couple of millimetres out, it's not going to matter too much. I'm just going to give it a good press and like flip it over, push it down, making sure that it's really well stuck down. And this would be a good time for me to bring out my protective mat, which I tend to always forget about. But I'm definitely someone who needs a protective mat because I make a mess. Okay, so now, let me just swap that over because it's rolling up the ways and I'm finding that a tad annoying. There we go. Alright, so now I'm just going to trim these corners off a bit. Careful not to go too close. It's easier to trim them up a little bit more later, but it's not easy to fix it up when they are too close. So my preference is to just trim a little bit off. Oops. Okay. And then trim them up again if I need to. And I'm just going to turn all of these edges around, give them a bit of edge. I'm sort of pulling it towards me so that it's nice and tight. I'm pulling these ones inward. Pulling this one upwards. So you could use wet glue for this, or double-sided tape, whatever is your preference. Okay, so let's start with a bit of glue. I'm going to use, I'll just continue with my craft glue. I like to run a bead of glue along that edge because I always like to make sure that it's stuck quite firmly to the edge of the chipboard. I'm just pushing that in again. I'm going to use my bone folder and squish it down. It's usually when I get the squishy glue bits coming out, so I just like to bring my wipe over and wipe those off. Because, I don't know, I see people do this all the time and they're always so much neater at it than me. Okay, I'm just going to flip it over because I'm right-handed and it's much easier for me to do it this way. Bit of glue down that edge. Come on, glue. And fold that one over too. Push it down. And then I'm going to get my little scissors. I can just see where I need to trim that a little bit where it's not quite as close. Just going to snip along there. Sorry, I keep turning it around. Snip it along there. Okay, and then I can, where did I put those scissors? I can just trim that up a little bit neatly. And this one as well. So I'm leaving on the edge a little bit today. Usually when I record, I put the dogs outside, but they are currently enjoying a little afternoon siesta in the lounge room, and I thought, well, I'll see how they go. Hopefully they don't come and pound on my door, which they are sometimes prone to do. So I guess we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've just neatened up those edges a little bit, and I'll just run a bit of glue along there, and up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'll just do the same on this bit too while I've got the glue running. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And then I'm fold it over, pushing this one up to make sure it's really nicely stuck on there. And then pull this one down. Make sure that's nicely stuck. a bit of burnish with my bone folder. And this is where all the glue comes out. But at least then you know it's really firmly stuck and it's not going to go anywhere. That's my theory anyway. Of course I end up with glue all over my bone folder. Same edges. What's that? Same on the bottom. I think that should be okay. I'm just going to run my bone folder really gently along these little sections here where the spine's going to fold. Being careful not to press it down so tight that, or so harshly that I tear the paper, which, you know, I've done once or twice. Okay, and then I'm just using my bone folder. I'm going to run along the top, along the top here and around all the edges just to give it a nice flat finish rather than a rounded edge. And do the same along here. Along the other side. Oops. And then along this side here. And just gives that a nice flat finish. Okay, so there's our cover. It's not bad. So I'm just going to pop that to the side while we get our binding and pages sorted out. But that's that cover. So let's have a look at our pages now. So for those we need our 4 M1 pieces. And we're going to make 2 pocket pages out of this. So what that means is, and then we'll insert it into the binding and then attach the binding to the inside of the cover. But we are going to cut off 2 of these tabs, or one on each of 2 of these pages. So put those to a side. And you'll see on here, on this one, it's got 2 score lines. And we're actually going to cut off this last tab along this score line, but only on 2 of the pages. So just get out my cutting board and cut those 2 off. So the reason we're doing that is, so that we don't have too much thickness in the binding. Otherwise the pages are a bit difficult to turn. Oops, okay, so that's that one with 1 tab off, and here's another one. Just lining up my score line, trimming off that tab. Okay, so to make 1 pocket page we need 1 of these where we've cut the tab off and 1 with the tab on. The first thing I'm going to do is go around and fold all of my tabs in, give them a good burnish so that they're nicely folded and flat. And there's that glue coming off my bone folder that I just got on there from the cover. And I'm going to do the same with both of these. So if you've made my broderie mini album, then you'll recognise that we're making the pages in exactly the same way as we did with the broderie. Turn that stubby tab in, and that one across the top. Okay, so to make our page, what we need to do is make sure that we have our tabs on both, our long tabs on both facing the same direction, and the top tab, the one with the tab cut off, and the one with the tab on facing the same direction, so like so. And then I'm just going to use my glue. You could use double-sided tape. And I'm using this Halmar's Tiger Grip, which is easily available in Australia. And I'll just put it in a smaller bottle. And the idea of putting it in a smaller bottle was so I didn't use as much. I'm not sure that has really panned out, but anyway. So I'm putting glue on one of these long tabs, and then I'm going to flip it over and line it up with this edge here. So I'm lining up those corners and along that top edge. And I'm just going to pick it up and make sure that it's lined up as best I can. Oh, well, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to give it a burnish. Might have a bit of glue leakage, but the glue dries clear anyway, so that's okay. So there's that one, and I've turned it upside down, but that's where it was before. So we've attached that one. So then we're just going to fold this one over and do the same thing. Put some glue on there. Ooh. Try and keep it on the tab. And flip it over and line that up and make a pocket. Line that up. Give it a burnish. And I'm happy with that. So then the last thing I'm going to do is just flip over this stubby tab here. That's the one where we cut that extra tab off. I'm going to put some glue on there and then attach it just to that same section on this other side of the page. So let's just do that. One page done. So there's our page. It's a pocket page, and we have the tab that we're going to insert into the binding. So we'll put that one to the side, and I will do another one. And it's lovely when you make a 2-page album. I mean, it can still have plenty of room in it, but it's so much quicker to make. I like that instant gratification. And that's the word I was looking for before. So I'm just going to go around and burnish all those score lines, fold the score lines, burnish them down nicely before we do exactly the same thing again. So the reason I really love these SVG files is because I don't have to do any measuring, I don't even do any cutting, and I don't do any scoring because my Cricut has the scoring tool, so it does the scoring for me. So I can, and I just I enjoy the creativity of having all of the different pieces, the elements, and figuring out different ways that I can make things with those elements. And even when I had my Cricut and I started making mini albums, I didn't use my Cricut. I, cut and score the pages, measured them, cut them, score them, and it was so tedious. And I made so many mistakes. And I don't know, it just kind of took the joy out of it. So, and then I had this cutting machine sitting right next to me that could do it, that could do that sort of thing. So I just sort of taught myself how to make these SVGs. Okay, so we've got our pocket now. We just need to glue these last little pieces together. I'm just going to glue this stubby tab to its other stubby tab. And that just makes our page a little bit sturdier, and also gives a little space away from the spine so our pages don't poke out or sit up too much if they've got lots of elements on them. Okay, so we can put that in our binding now. To do that, I'm going to use double-sided tape on these tabs. So I'm just opening up these tabs, and I'm going to get my double-sided tape out. and attach it to these tabs. So the reason I'm using double-sided tape is because we're putting these in the slits in our binding pieces, and I don't want any glue to seep through. So I think that something like this will work better for us. Okay, I'll just flip that around because I've got my angle cut here. Not really very great with double-sided tape, I have to say. But we persevere. Trim that one off. My tape away. Okay, I'm just going to burnish that down so it's nice and well stuck and I can get the backing tape off. Okay, so to attach these to the spine, I'm also going to use my glue stick, so I'll just put that to the side. And here is my E1 binding piece, so it's got this little strip in here, and each of the slots is where we're going to slide in one of our pages. So I'm going to use my little Cricut tool, and what I'll do, I'll just demonstrate it before I do it, is I just lift this strip up with my little Cricut tool and I slide my page in underneath. When I'm happy with where it's sitting, so it's coming up to that that fold line, that score line, but not over it, then once I'm happy with it sitting like that, then I will press it down. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I'll just take this backing tape off. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue stick on because it just gives us a little bit of wiggle time. And then I will do exactly what I just demonstrated. I'm just going to slide my page underneath, make sure it's lined up the way I want it to be. And this is why the glue stick is helpful. And I'm just going to press it down. And then I'm going to give it a really good burnish and make sure she's stuck in. It's so simple. Okay, and then let's do exactly the same thing with the next one. So pull that tape off, put a bit of glue in, glue stick on, and this time I'll probably just lift it up like so, slide it in, make sure it's lined up the way I'm just making sure it's lined up also with the page that I've just put in, so it's not on the wonk. And then I'll press it down and give it a really good burnish. Okay, so that's the end of the glue stick. So now to turn the pages over, I like to hold where I've just stuck it down and pull my page over and just press it down gently, give that a really good burnish. And down at the centre. And holding that there and then pushing my page over and pressing down like so. So there we have our 2 pages in our binding. Now we still have this, if you can see here, that little slit, and we don't want that to keep happening. And we also want to make this a little bit stronger than just one piece of cardstock. So I'm going to leave my pages open and flip them over to the back, and there you can see we've got our 2 tabs that we've put in. And then I'm going to take my E2 piece, and if you remember, I've covered this with double-sided adhesive on each side. So my plan is that I'm going to attach this down on here. I'm going to make sure it covers up these 2 tabs and that it's centered in between, if you can see where it goes straight across and then it starts to dip down. So I'm trying to center it between those 2 points at the top and the bottom. And so I just like to, we can just eyeball it. Just want to make sure those tabs are covered, like so. I think it could be a bit further over this way. Okay, ooh. I'm just going to draw a line down there, so once I take my the backing off the contact, it's not so hard. Okay, so we've got both of those covered. So I'm just going to take this off. Might actually use my glue stick again just to give me a little bit of time. Come on, there we go. I'm going to pull that contact off there. I might put a bit of glue stick on here. I'll just put it down here so I don't get glue all over my book pages. Okay, so then I'm just going to line it up on my lines and with the top and the bottom. And if it's not perfect, we can just trim off the top and the bottom. It's all good. Okay, and we're just going to press it down really firmly, make sure that it's stuck down. And then I'm going to flip it back over again, and I'm going to burnish this down as well to make sure that it's stuck on this, you know, really firmly stuck. I'm big about burnishing. And same down here, across the top, across the bottom, and then along this front section here. Now that split that we use to insert our pages is stuck down nice and firmly to that double-sided adhesive. Okay, so that's that bit done. So now we can bring back our cover, and we're going to insert our binding into the cover. So actually what I wanted to do was ink around the edges on my cover. So before, I might do that before I put this binding on. So I'll just pop that to the side, and all I'm going to do is use my VersaFine for no other reason than that's what's sitting here, and my distressing tool, and I'm just going to distress around the edges because I wanted this to be black, but I didn't have any black paper. That's the only reason I'm doing this. So I will finish this. And then once I've done that, I will be back and we will insert the binding and put the mats on. Right, so I'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm back and I have inked around my edges now. I got quite messy doing it. Just because I wanted that black finish, no other reason, and I thought I should do it before we put the binding in. So let's pull out our pages that are stuck to our binding, and all we need to do is line it up from the top and bottom as best we can, and I'm trying to line up that straight edge with my straight edge in between my folding sections. My words are not coming to me. Can you tell? Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to get my pencil and I'm just going to draw some little marks around these corners so that once we've got the glue on it, we don't have to faff around trying to line it up again because we've already done that. Okay, so now I will stretch this out again while I'm going to take off my backing paper off this double-sided adhesive on here, double-sided contact. Come on. I've got my glasses on, but I don't know that it's helping. There we go. And then there's this little bit that I accidentally cut off. That can go on there. I'm going to use my tiger grip and I'm going to put it all the way around the edges. And it's bound to ooze out, but you know, better to have too much than not enough. I'm especially going to go up and down this section here because that's where it's going to go in the fold line. And then I'm just going to make sure that there's glue everywhere. I'm going to go over that adhesive again as well. because 2 types of glue must be better than 1. Okay, so then all I need to do is pick it up and line up those little marks that we have already made on each side, there and there, and press it down. And then I'm going to get out my wipe and my foam folder, and again I'm going to really give it a good burnish all the way around, make sure that it's stuck on. Wipe up that excess as I go. Flip it over, run down there. I'm really going to make sure that it's stuck down between each of the pages. And there. And when I'm happy with that, I'm just going to gently run along this fold. I'm just going to gently run along this fold and gradually ease up my cover, making sure that I don't have any buckling, and that looks pretty good. Just run along there, and I'm just going to do the same on this side. Run it along that fold, just gently, so we don't tear it. See how that folds up. Looks good. Just give it a little bit extra attention. Brilliant. Okay, so that is our pages inserted into our cover, like so. So now I just want to finish off the matting. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply my mats to my front and back, and so I might open it out to do that. So I had to pry this off the last album that I made. As I said, I'd already done this once, so I sort of pried this off, so you can see where I had to rip it off, but you know, I got it off. So hopefully we don't need to do that again. So I'm just using my craft glue. Running around the edges. Getting a bit low in this bottle. And I can put this one down. Line it up. It's a little bit more fragile since I pulled it back off the other cover that I made. Okay, I need a bit more glue down here. I wonder if I can squish the nozzle in there. Right, now there's going to be way too much and it's going to ooze out. There we go. This is the way for me. It's never just the right amount of glue. It's always too much or not enough. Alright, that'll do for now. Okay. then I think I need to do a little bit more there, and there's just a tiny rip there where I had tried to get it off the last album, but I feel like you will barely notice it once I've stuck it down, and it just kind of looks like part of the pattern. Brilliant. Okay, so then we have got this other mat here, which is going to go on here. I'm going to put it that way. So put a bit of glue on here. This is our C4 mat, which is the spine mat for the landscape, 2-page landscape. Just going to lay that down on there. Okay, now before I put the back on, I'm just going to think about my closure. So I noticed on this paper that there's a couple of metallic kind of looking embellishments as part of the paper. So I had a look in my buttons and I found this button and I thought, oh, that'll be cute if I put it on here. So I've just wrapped this bit of wire around it, and this is just that wire stuff that you get when you buy freezer bags. I don't know if this is everywhere, but you get these little skinny bits of wire and they've got the plastic on them. I thought I'll use those because it's quite thin wire and I should be able to lay it down on the inside pretty well. So I've just put that through the hole in the back of my button. So I'm thinking I'm going to put a hole in here. So maybe if I put it about an inch in. So my ruler is an inch wide. So now I'm just going to find the center, which is here. There's my center, an inch in, so I think my button will go there. So, okay, I'm going to stick a hole in there with my ball. And then I can feed this wire through there. And then I'm just going to flip her over. Move all this stuff out of the way. And then I can just lay that down and it should lay quite flat. And I'm just going to cover that up with a bit of tape for a little bit of extra hold, a bit of masking tape. Ooh. Cut that rough edge off. And then I can hear my doggies coming to the door. If you could just wait 5 more minutes, we should be done. Okay, I'm just going to place this down on here. And that should hopefully hold that in place. Oops. It's okay, we're going to cover it over anyway. Okay, so let's have a look how that looks. Oh, that's nice. I like it. Okay, so then my idea was that I'd have a ribbon coming from the back around to the front. So I have some of this maroon burgundy coloured ribbon, which I thought went well with this. Again, blue would have been nice, but I don't have any blue. So I'm going to attach some ribbon. I'll flip this over in the centre here. So we'll find the centre here again. There's the centre. That's pretty much just the only measuring I have to do, is just finding the centre of things. And that's only because I'm being pedantic and I'm not all that great at eyeballing. Put a bit of glue there. Put a ribbon on top. And then we'll give it a bit of ribbon that to the side. I'll flip this back the right way so that I put the paper on the right way. And then we just have to put this over the top, and that'll also help to hold down our ribbon. Okay, right, I'm going better with this colour than I did the last one. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm just happy that I could salvage these bits of paper because this was only a 12 pack of paper. So when I messed up the cover and I thought I'm going to have to do that again, I was really worried that I was going to run out of paper. And I'd saved this really pretty paper for the front, as you do. I'm just going to pop that on there and on there. Smooth that out. I feel like I might want it to come over a bit. Okay. So, I mean, I've used the same paper on the front and the back, and of course you don't have to do that. You could use something different. But I couldn't help myself. Alright, so there we have it. So then when it's a bit chunky, we can just wrap our ribbon around our button. It's meant to be easier than that. As our closure. It's a bit long now, but I'm going to wait until we've finished making it before I trim that off, because you know, chances are that I might cut it too short. Okay, so the only other thing we need to do is cover our insides with these pieces here. So these are the A2 covers mats that we cut, and I've just cut this out of the cardstock. So I'm just going to glue that up and pop it down over here, like so. And I'm just going to line it up with my binding piece there so that it's got a nice finish. That glue off that I managed to get on there. And that is our cover done. Inside the front cover anyway. And then we can just put one on the back. I tend to write on the pieces, I don't know if you can see that, it says A2, I've just written it in pencil. I just tend to write on my pieces because, you know, if they fall off your desk or, you know, you end up not using it, maybe you'll save it for next time, then at least you know what it is, because sometimes the pieces can start to look a bit similar. So I find that it's a good idea to write that down. Okay, so I'm lining that up along here. Press it down. And that's our cover done. And that looks really nice and neat. I love black. Black's so classy looking. So we've got our 2-page album and we've done the cover. The only other thing I was thinking about, I wasn't sure if you were meant to put these on before you put your inside covers on, but I have these Tim Holtz corner thingies, and I was thinking about putting these on the front cover as well, like so. That'd look quite nice. What I wasn't sure about is whether you were supposed to be able to see those metal corners on this side. Let's just put one on and see. Usually pull it off again. I mean, that looks okay, and I feel like the mat wouldn't go down very nicely if you didn't have that there. So let's have a look what that looks like. Is that the right colour to go with our... It's hard to tell. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, I think that's a... I like that. I think that goes nicely. Might put the other one on. Let's do that. One on here. I think I probably need to get some pliers out and give it a really, you know, really squash it flat. but for now I can just pop them on like so. Oops, might need to put a bit of glue on them as well, but I'll do that later. You don't have to hang around for that. Oops. Definitely need to put some glue on those as well. But anyway, there's our cover and our inserted pages. So that is the cover and pages inserted for our Esencia 2-page landscape album. And so in the next video we'll start putting some elements together onto those pages. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I hope you stick around and watch the rest of the series, and I'd love it if you subscribed if you haven't already, so that you can see the next, or so that you'll be advised by YouTube when the next video comes out. A thumbs up would always be great. Drop a comment if you'd like to, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for your time today. Bye.